Thank you everybody for joining us this evening. We want to share with you some updates or just to brief you on this construction project that you approved in 2017 from the city's bond. And one of the things that I want to make sure that we're doing a good job is conveying all information about projects that the city's doing and being able to take public input. And I know during COVID that presents challenges. Right now we're doing this virtually. This was a request that we got from Cynthia Spielman, and I agreed with her that our community is facing the threat of this pandemic. The COVID numbers are going up, and so we decided that it was the right thing to do this virtually. But I'm also aware of the digital divide and how we want to make sure that we're reaching everybody. And so it's very likely that we'll have to do another one of these events, especially once the construction begins. A lot more people are going to take notice, and a lot more questions are going to arise. So we'll probably end up doing another one of these. But so if there's any input that you have after the event on how we can do a better job, of getting this information out to everybody in our community, please let us know. We want to do the best we can to serve you. And I'll go ahead and pass it back to Joe.
Thank you for those messages there, Mr. Councilman. And we appreciate you being here and your interest in what we're doing here at Public Works. And now let's go ahead and get to the presentation with Eric Salazar. Eric?
All right. This virtual public meeting is for the Fredericksburg Road, North Flores to West Woodlawn bond project. Of course, we go through introductions, project information, and then we'll have public comments and questions. As Councilman Bravo mentioned, this is part of the bond program approved by you, the voters, May 6, 2017. Project team, my name is Eric Salazar. I'll serve as the project manager for this bond project. Emilio Rodriguez, he's a senior engineering associate. He's served as a project engineer. Rogelio Ananda, he is our project engineer providing support. And then, of course, Richard Cassiano, he is our capital projects officer. He'll be fielding all the questions or concerns that you may have related to this project. And then, of course, the city consultant, we have Fernando Camarillo from Paznecki Camarillo, and then Jose Diaz. And our contractor will be Easy Bell Construction. So this is the bond. We started with the May 6, 2017 bond, got approved, and this was approved by the voters. It was a part of a $850 million bond program. We started with a pre-design meetings, two of which we heard your concerns, which were safety concerns, pedestrian mobility, bike lane connectivity, transit, drainage concerns, parking, and of course, economic revitalization. We took those concerns and applied them to our design. We typically have two design meetings. We call them community informational meetings. We held two of those and incorporated those concerns into our designs, presented those, and then we went out, did the project, and it was awarded May 6, 2021, which culminates into this pre-construction meeting we have today. And in this meeting, we'll go over what you will find given the construction activities this project is going to provide. Project limits are from North Flores to East Craig. That's where we plan on making our improvements. Our existing conditions. Currently, we have a 4-lane facility, 11-foot wide lanes, high pedestrian traffic area. It's a high via ridership corridor as well, and we currently have no bike facilities. These are a couple of photos on the existing conditions of Harry Warsbach. We took it's from Hickman looking west, and then again looking east. So these are the existing conditions we see there at Fredericksburg. We consider this project into two parts. One that is south of Cincinnati, and the other part north of Cincinnati. So essentially from North Flores to Cincinnati, we wanted to focus on bike facilities. We took this lane transformation and then reduced it from 4 lanes into 2 through lanes with 1 turning lane. And that will accommodate a 5-foot bike lane. And that's the first section you'll see. This is again from Culebra to Cincinnati. And then the north section from Cincinnati to West Craig. Here we wanted to focus on the pedestrian amenities, wider sidewalks, and then parking. We understood that there's a large commercial properties in the area, so we wanted to focus on providing them public parking in that area, this section of Cincinnati to West Craig. The improvements include curbs, sidewalks, driveway approaches, base repair and pavement resurfacing, traffic signal upgrades at Culebra, Blanco, Colorado, Cincinnati, and a new signal at French, along with, of course, pedestrian crossings, lane configuration, bike lanes, on-street parking, bus pads, pullouts, and shelters, additional drainage capture, and utility upgrades. The utility upgrades include SAWS water and sewer and CPS gas. As a prelude to these upgrades in this project, you'll likely see CPS out there making their utility adjustments, and the comms will shortly follow. We're going to go and view the schematic and project improvements starting at North Flores to Culebra Road. Here, this is where we transition. As you're aware, we've completed the bond project for the 5 Points intersection. We got bike lanes via bus facilities at that intersection. So we wanted to incorporate that and continue that that transition into Culebra. So in this section, we'll have a mill and overlay. Of course, the entire project's actually a mill and overlay, but in order for us to make those transitions with pavement markings, we'll start the mill and overlay there where we ended off at 5 Points. What you see in green are the proposed bike lanes. What's in orange are the proposed sidewalks. And then there's some portions of red, typically corner clips or edges that you'll see as proposed right-of-way. So this is a section where we transition from 4 lanes into two lanes and a turning lane. The section from Culebra Road to UPR Railroad, we maintain these. This is where you really see the typical section with the 2 through lanes, 1 in each direction, and the turning lane. The bus stop there at Culebra, top of your screen, will remain there at that same location. Continuing on from UP Railroad to Princeton Street, the existing bus stop at Sandoval is being consolidated with the existing bus stop at UPR. So here at Sandoval, this location, bottom of the screen, this will no longer exist. It's being consolidated with this bus stop at Union Pacific Railroad. Here, we can start seeing the medians, the concrete medians at this intersection, Sandoval, on both sides of the intersection. Next slide. Princeton to Hickman. Again, we have a new intersection or a upgrade at the intersection for the signals at Blanco. Here at the bottom of the screen, we see the bus stop there at existing bus stop at Cincinnati and Grant will remain. Construct a bus pullout. I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong one. I apologize. The existing bus stop at University is being consolidated with the existing bus stop at Blanco, and this is the top of screen. And at the bottom of the screen, we see existing bus stop at Hickman being relocated to Colorado. Again, you have these corner clips, and this location right here will be for a via shelter. Again, we have a upgrade at Colorado for the traffic signal. And continuing with the bike lanes, 5-foot bike lanes. Hickman and Cincinnati. We have an upgrade there at Cincinnati for the traffic signals. This is where we terminate the bike lanes and continue them down Cincinnati. And move forward with the larger sidewalks and on-street parking past Cincinnati. Existing bus stop at Cincinnati is being relocated 150 feet north of Cincinnati. This is top of screen. Existing bus stop at Cincinnati and Grant will remain. Construct bus pullout. This is the bottom of the screen at this location. Cincinnati to Ashby. Again, this is the bus pullout. Talked about the consolidation of the bus stops. And then you can see we start with the commercial parking or the public parking. Top of the screen. Ashby to Russell. We continue with the larger sidewalks and the parallel parking. In this area that is kind of dithered, this is currently under revision. We've been working with the council office and the Beacon Hills Neighborhood Association to develop some amenities there in the green space. It's the Liz Davies green space. So we're accommodating that through a change order so we can get those amenities in place. French is a new proposed upgrade for the traffic signal. And we see more additional public parking. And then Russell, in the project, we transition back to the existing configuration there. Again, more public parallel parking, top of the screen. And then we still maintain that existing bus stop there at Craig. Our work schedule. We have 3 phases of the project. First, we're going to start on the northbound lanes. We'll push all the traffic north and southbound 2 lanes to the southbound side, maintain that traffic while we work on the northbound lanes. We'll adjust the sidewalks, do some drainage improvements, utility work, concrete work, flat work, and road work, of course. And then we'll move traffic on the new improvements, and then work on the southbound side of the project, southbound lanes. Do the same thing, make utility adjustments, drainage, concrete work, and then road work. Once that's complete, we'll work on the medians, the concrete medians in the middle. So all the while keeping traffic both ways, inbound and outbound. Our construction start, we have an NTP, a notice to proceed on September 7th, early this next month. We'll be planning construction May 2023. I'm going to turn it over to Abigail to discuss the VIA amenities and what to expect with the detours.
Thanks,
Abigail?
Eric. Hi, good evening. My name is Abigail Kinnison. I'm the Director of Capital Projects at VIA Metropolitan Transit, and we are happy to partner with the city on this project. over the last several years. So as Eric mentioned, Fredericksburg Road and this portion of Lower Fred is very important to our system and our passengers that utilize the system. There are 4 routes, 6 if you count the ones that travel on Culebra, that traverse this portion of Fredericksburg, and you see them here on the map, and the green shade is the boundary of the construction. And so we are proposing to detour off of this roadway during construction for a couple of reasons. The main one being safety. As Eric mentioned, they're going to work on one side of the road and then the other. But we wouldn't be able to open doors or let passengers in or out, depending on which side of the road was being worked on. So we felt like it was best just to remove from the area. We do have service existing on Woodlawn, and Woodlawn will act as one of the detour routes, as well as Culebra. And the detour route for the Blanco bus, number 2, will go up Flores near San Pedro Park, turn west on Ashby, and then proceed up Blanco on its normal route. So folks in the area will see a little bit newer signage or route signs that show the routes on detour on those new signs, not new signs, existing signs that will be serving these detoured routes is what I should say. So those numbers will be in orange, indicating that's for the detoured bus. And we can provide that. We'll probably push that on our social media side as we start construction. So we're looking forward to the completion of this project. There are 11 stops within the boundaries, and we are proposing to close 2 or consolidate 2. But all of the remaining 9 stops will be receiving improvements. And so we're pleased with the outcome. And I'll be happy to take any questions as they come up or at any time.
Thank you, Abigail. I'm going to leave with this last slide. Richard Castellano, who is our Capital Projects Officer, his contact information is there along with his email. If you should have any questions or concerns, definitely he is the man with the that can get the responses back to you.
All right, thanks, Eric, and thank you for the presentation, everybody. I know that I had suggested we work with the question and answer section. If you had any questions, we had a couple in there that we are answering and have answered. But if you have a question about this project, you want to learn some more information about some of the stuff you saw on the slide presentation, feel free to go ahead and put that in the Q&A right now. I know that David McBeth answered one of them, but I kind of wanted him to answer it out loud, and that is, will this project consider bearing overhead utilities, and if not, why? David, do you mind expounding a little bit on what your answer was already on that, but just for the folks who may not be online?
Sure, Joe, not at all. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, the question is about the conversion or putting all the overhead electric lines and utilities underground. We get that question a lot, and typically the bond program does not include funding for conversion of overhead to underground utilities for overhead electric and telecommunications, simply because of the cost. It's very expensive, and we would not be able to extend this project the length that we have here if we were to include conversion of overhead. We'd probably cut the project probably in half if we had to do overhead conversion on each of these projects. So the way the bond is set up, we do not include that, and that's across the city.
Thanks for that, David. We had a question that showed up in the chat feature, and it says, will we only be allowed a right turn from West Craig onto Fredericksburg Road? Who can answer that one, Eric?
Let's have Jose Diaz from Cosmic and Camarillo.
Okay. Jose, can you unmute yourself? Do you have an opportunity to help us out with that question?
I'm sorry, I missed that question.
Okay, the question is, will we only be allowed a right turn from West Craig onto Fredericksburg Road?
Just give me a second to look into that.
As I say, Eric does have the opportunity, if he needs to go back to that slide, he can, and he can share it with us while we're trying to get that slide up, so folks will have a reference point of where we're looking at and what we're looking at here. So the question was, will we only be allowed a right turn from West Craig onto Fredericksburg Road? Looking at that, on what it looks like to be the east side there.
That is correct. It's only a right turn, right in and right out, both
Okay.
on northbound and southbound.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Will any trees be planted? I don't know if you mean like I don't think there's anything planned for in the medians, correct? It would be
Right.
a way to sustain them.
Right, we are working with the Beacon Hills Neighborhood Association to enhance the green space, the Liz Davies green space, and that would be the location where those things would be considered.
Thank you, Eric. The next question, rerouting via traffic takes a toll on the smaller roads. Will there be funding for repairs on all of those detour roads? I can say, obviously, from the public works perspective, if the roads do get torn up that from heavier traffic, obviously we would be repairing them as those repairs are necessary, if that helps. I know on potholes, we've got a 2-day turnaround, right? You call 311. If it becomes something more major, I'm sure we can address the issue down the road.
Sure,
Anybody else have
I'll
anything?
add to that. Joe, I'll add to that. This is David. Yeah, we would assess the condition of those roads at the completion of the project, but also in the meantime, we'll look at where those roads are on the 5-year rolling IMP to make sure that, if we need to slide some things around, if there are some needs there, that we may be able to address those in our 5-year rolling IMP program.
Thank you for that, much more eloquent.
I'll just add one more thing. Most of these roads already have bus traffic on them or are traversed by our routes. There is a segment of Ashby and a segment of Colorado that will be new. Bus traffic will be introduced during this project, but all the other routes, all the other roads see via traffic today.
Thank you for that, Abigail. Appreciate that. Another question coming in. How can we see some specifics on parking for 801 Fredericksburg Road as in a picture of the diagram? Do we have any pictures specifically on parking, or are we just talking about the on-street parking there?
What we can do is we can get that address and have Richard Cassiano meet with them directly, provide that information. Joe?
Okay, sounds good. We can provide some more information after this meeting. Richard Cassiano's address and contact information, we'll show it to you again. I'll actually put it in the chat here when I get a chance as well. There it is. Thank you for that help, Eric. Sure. That is Richard's information, richard.cassiano@sanantonio.gov, or you can give him a call there at 207-8218, and he'll be able to help you out with some additional information regarding that parking lot. Does it need to be a right turn only on Craig? It's shown, you answered the question, but can it not allow for turns to the left as well? So they're looking for a little bit of leeway on that. Anybody traffic engineering wise?
The concrete median will prohibit that maneuver. And it's for safety purposes.
Thank you, Eric. Will the entirety of the work zone along Fred Road be closed to all traffic throughout construction, or are we going to be doing some lane changes, guys?
We are maintaining traffic. The difference is we have right now, we have 4 lanes, which we reduce the capacity by half. We'll have 1 lane in each direction. So essentially, when we're working on the first phase, we're eliminating those 2 lanes that are going northbound and working in that area to install sidewalk, flat work, drainage, all the improvements on that particular side of the Fredericksburg facility. So we will always have traffic flowing northbound and southbound. The only difference is we reduce the capacity from 4 lanes to 2 lanes in our TCP, or traffic control. And the only time we would actually do some full closures would be at night if necessary, where the peak hours are at the least, to provide, I guess, as least inconvenient as possible.
So to hear you correctly, it's going to be 2-way traffic at all time. It just might be a tight squeeze, correct?
Right.
Okay. See the next question. We have an issue with flooding in the 1100 block of West Myrtle between Colorado and Fred Road. This feeds into Fred Road. Curbing is needed to filter and direct the water. More of a comment there about the flooding. I'm assuming flooding is addressed when you guys go over these plans, but can you add some more to that?
Right. We do have drainage improvements. Right now, we do have the capacity of the trunk line to accept more water. We understood in the pre-design meetings that was a major concern. So we did add additional inlets to capture that water.
Okay, thank you. Kurt, I see you added more to your question about on-street parking. I'm going to check in Q&A and see if you're in there. I don't quite understand, but in the Q&A section, we do have, what is the purpose of the medians? Who can answer that one?
Let's have Jose can answer that.
Well, when we're talking about the raised concrete medians, it's for traffic management. Mainly if we get traffic to, by limiting traffic to make certain maneuvers, for example, like we talked about at Craig, to the left, that also prohibits cars traveling in the opposite direction to make that same turn and back traffic up. So it's forced to continue on and find a different route.
Thank you, Jose. Another question kind of following up on that. Most of this stretch of Fred Road will be 2 lanes without a turn lane. That is the question. Will it be 2 lanes without a turn lane?
I believe there are sections that have the left turn lane, what we call the 2-way left turn lane.
So in this section, from Calabria to Cincinnati, that's where we have the turning lane. So that section, you should see the turning lane. And then from that section from Cincinnati to Craig, there will not be the turning lane.
Okay, thank you for that. There's a specific question as to a piece of property of 140 Fred Road. Will there be any realignment of the sidewalk and the entry apron at 140 Fred Road on the east side of the road at Calabria? Can anyone talk to that right now, or is that something to handle offline?
Joe, I think we can handle that offline. As long as we have the address, we can definitely get with the that particular property and address that directly.
Okay. Let me type that up real quick. Please email Richard There we go. Let's see if we have any other questions. No more questions in the Q&A at this time. It doesn't appear so. Anybody else have any more questions about the project? And if not, I can try to see what we can do for our telephone audience. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is for the call-in users, I'm going to unmute your microphones. This may or may not cause a lot of reverb. It depends on what happens, but we'd love to hear from you, right? So I'm going to unmute the audience to see if we can pick up folks. And if once I unmute it, if you just want to state your name and then ask your question, that would be great, okay? So I am going to unmute you all, and I will be muting it back so we don't have a lot of issues. So again, state your name and then kind of like a radio talk show host to let us know what you feel. You are now unmuted. All right, so that seems to be it, guys. Is there anything else that we may have missed or anything you guys want to add from the panelist team? David, any closing remarks about this project?
I have a couple of things. So where there are going to be medians, can you tell us how wide those medians are?
Sure.
Jose, can you provide that information, Councilman, please?
Sure, I'm looking now. Some of these medians, I believe they vary, but for example, by the railroad tracks, I believe the median there is roughly 4 or 5 feet, depending on where we measure. I guess if it's from face of curb to face of curb, it would be a 4-foot median wide. And then as we travel along and we get closer to Sandoval and Princeton, there is a kind of a varying median that kind of creates the left turn lane. That one itself is 10 feet wide at the widest. So you can think of it as occupying what used to be the existing left turn lane. So when you look at the wide ones, you could estimate it somewhere around 10 feet, and the thinner ones would be about 4 feet.
Well, yeah, we don't have to do that right now, but I'd love to have a conversation about putting trees in those medians. If it were up to me, I'd say that we never build a median in this city again that doesn't have trees in it, unless there's some kind of huge safety issue that I'm unaware of. Then my last question is, if people put their email in the chat, will you all be able to send them a copy of this presentation?
I can send it to whoever requests it for sure.
Great.
If they send it to Richard Cassiano and ask for it, we can certainly send the presentation to them.
Sounds great. Okay, thank you.
Well, no, thank you very much. And thank you, folks. Let me see here if I'm missing anything.
Joe,
Joe, I'll just pick up on.
Go ahead.
Joe, I just want to say one more thing. If you put my contact information up, that slide that has my contact information up, just for everyone to know that, after this meeting, if you have any questions, concerns, wants of any kind for this project until we're finished, my number's there, my email's there. Call me anytime, and I'll be happy to help you out with any problems you have out there. That's what I do. Thank you.
Thanks, Richard, for that. We had a final question. They want to know, the plans are finalized, and I'm going to assume yes, they are. This is just giving you kind of an idea of where we're coming. Are we still taking input on the plans, or are we talking about this being basically what we're moving forward with?
Yeah, Joe, the project's been bid already. Now, we may make some tweaks during construction, but basically the project has been fully designed. It's been bid out to a contractor. We have a contract to begin the work that you see here in the presentation. tonight. So unless we find some other issue that we need to change during construction, this is the plan that we're moving forward with. I did want to just close also by saying thank you all for supporting the bond program. We have, of course, we're in the fifth year of the 2017 bond program. We are already have been working on getting prepared for the 2022 bond program that will be going towards the coming to the voters in May of 2022. So, and at one of the recent city council meetings, the overall bond is projected to be about 1.2 billion this round. It's over 350,000 more than the last bond that we did, 850 million. So great support. We appreciate every vote that we get for the bond and the support we get from the community. That's how we're able to bring these great projects to different parts of San Antonio. So bear with us on the construction. It's never fun, but Richard's here to take any calls or concerns you have during construction, and we'll address those accordingly. But we'll try to get through this as quickly as we can with our contractor and try not to disrupt the public as little as we can. Thank you.
Thank you, David. Hey, Joe,
Thanks, David.
WebEx meetings, I forgot, again, you got a lot of folks on the telephone, so they're not seeing the screen. My number, 210-207-8218. That's Richard Casiano, 210-207-8218. And then my email, richard.casiano, 1S, C-A-S-I-A-N-O, at sanantonio.gov. Richard.casiano at sanantonio.gov. I keep forgetting that you have a lot of call-ins with the phones that don't have might not be able to see the screen. So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Thanks for that.
Thank you.
And if you're looking for an immediate copy of this was published live on Facebook. So if you want to follow up our Facebook channel, which is SA Public Works, check it out. This is going live to them right now. If we've missed your question or it ended up in the chat and I didn't catch it, it is an oversight on my part, but we would love to hear more from you, and Richard would as well. So please take the time and give us a shout out. And we love improving neighborhoods, and that's what we're here for your infrastructure needs. And thank you again to the councilman for being here as well. And stay in touch, everyone. And I hope you have a great rest of your evening.